welcome to the series Inspiring Journeys with NIIT. And today I have with me none other than Ganesh Krishnamurthy. He is our EVP for the SNC business at NIIT, and we call him Gani lovingly. So let me jump into the conversation with Gani.
Sure.
Gani, let me start with a bouncer.
Okay.
Teach me something really quickly now.
Okay. Are you a frequent traveler?
Yes, I am.
All right. Do you often get the seat of choice in your aircraft?
Well, not so much.
Right. Here are a couple of tips. Right. If you're flying international, use a site called Flight Radar 24. What that allows you to do is figure out what exactly is the aircraft you're going to be flying on that evening. Once you have that, jump onto another site called Flight Aware.
Okay.
And that's going to tell you exactly where is that aircraft at this point in time. It's more accurate than Flight Radar. Flight Radar is 30 minutes behind. And once you do that, use another site called Airline Quality, and they'll tell you what sort of seats and what sort of entertainment you're up for that evening. Lastly, a site called seatguru.com, and that's going to tell you which is the best seat in the aircraft to choose and which are the ones to completely avoid. And by the way, I assume you like the aisle seat over the window,
Yes,
right?
of course.
Right?
Those are mine.
Pick an aisle seat in the middle section of the aircraft, and in the middle aisle if it's a twin-bodied aircraft. That way you have fewer people jumping over you.
Oh, wow.
Try that out next time.
Sure, that's a good tip.
Sure.
Wow. All right, Gani. So, if we go back in your memory lane and you talk about, I know you did your graduation in commerce and then you jumped to technology and computers.
Right.
Was it by destiny or was it by design?
A bit of both, I guess. So, I was in college, had my evenings free. Computers were just about beginning to surface in Bangalore, where I grew up. And a lot of people are jumping on to doing IT courses. So when I finished my graduation, it just felt natural, to look at IT as a career. I guess that's how it began. Yeah, and no complaints at all.
Wow. And, from there on, your first job, talk about your experiences, what were your real frustrations? Were there any apprehensions? Were there any challenges and the triumphs that you had?
I guess the transition was pretty, it was almost surreal because I don't come from a home that had a lot of people working in a corporate. So I didn't have anyone to look up to or to get mentored by or whatever. So my first job was as a trainer. I was pretty nervous about it, but I didn't have stage fright. I was over that. What I wasn't told by NIIT about my first job, that I was going to be training people in their 40s and their 50s.
Okay.
That was a shocker, right? Because I'm now dealing with people like, older than my dad. And to be honest, most of them didn't want to be there. And sometimes even I didn't want to be there. Right. So the first job was all about trying to figure, what was I doing there and so on. But turned out to be a great journey. Yeah, I loved that experience. Looking back, at that point, I was scared as hell.
Yeah. And I know a lot of young people will be watching this. So, typically people want to be a manager and leader. But, according to you, what in your journey at NIIT, when you became a leader, how did the opportunity came by? Did you grab it or you were just lucky?
So I don't want to segregate between a manager and a leader. I think managers are titles at some point in your life you get stuck on with, right? And then the job is about managing, right? I think it's always been a restrictive word. But I don't think leadership is something that you get on a certain point in time. It just happens. Right, I'm a huge fan of television shows, and if you haven't caught it, season 2, episode 1, Game of Thrones.
Oh,
right,
my favorite too.
Yeah, the Night Watch tells Jon Snow, if you want to lead, first learn how to follow. Right, and that's been my mantra. I've had fantastic leaders always around me, and there are times when you follow, there are times when you lead, but I don't think you ever draw a line between when you become a leader or don't. It just goes, and then you go with it. I've been lucky in that way.
Okay. And, along the way, long career you have had, you must have made some friends at work. Tell us a good story, an interesting one of how you made a friend.
Yeah, I think I never saw life and work as two different things. A lot of people talk about work-life balance. I've never seen that distinction. I don't think I ever will. Because you need to have fun at the office, right? And NIIT's vision statement, the first line is NIIT's people. Right, so I've always surrounded myself by great people, and even if there were times when there was turbulence, you try and find a way to define something common for both of us or for all of us and just move. So for me, finding friends at work or finding friends outside work aren't two different things. So yeah, I've known a lot of NITians over the years, and I still am very, very good friends with them. I still learn a lot. I still spend a lot of time with them, virtually or otherwise.
Talking about fun at work. Well, the other day I was talking to Vivek, and I'm sure you've had a lot of fun. But he told me that once in Jodhpur you put him in a room with Subruto, because Subruto snores a lot.
Yeah.
So what was that story?
Oh yeah, no, Vivek still thinks that I put him in that room with Subruto because Subruto snores. That's only half the truth. The real truth was there was a lot of alcohol during that trip at Jodhpur, and Subruto's room was the store.
Okay.
Yeah, so Vivek was the only man I could trust because he doesn't drink, right? That's the reason he was in that room that night.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And Vivek still thinks that.
I hope he's not going to watch this.
You're trying your luck. So, again, you must be having a secret which you have not told anyone. So, tell us a secret about you.
Well, in school, I was this incredibly shy, introverted kid.
Really?
You would not find me in the classroom. I mean, I would be there, but you wouldn't know I exist. So, yeah, my entire school life, I was hiding away from everything. I would hide away from debates. I would hide away from anything that people asked me to volunteer for. I didn't exist, right? But I think I'm a little over that by now.
Yeah, I think the NIT has done something to you
Absolutely,
for sure.
absolutely.
So, how did this transformation happen? Do you remember any specific?
Oh, I do.
things?
There was a very specific moment in my life that, looking back, I know that was the inflection point. So, I was in college, and I used to follow the cultural team to all these events and stuff like that. And the skit in our college, Joseph's in Bangalore, was a huge hit in all these shows. And there was one particular event at an engineering college, and where the lead actor didn't show up, right? For some reason. And those days there were no cell phones to figure out where he was missing. So he didn't show up, and I was the only one around who knew the lines. So they threw me on stage, right? More out of because there was no other choice. But I did a pretty good job, and they actually sacked the other guy after that show. So that was my first time on stage, and I never looked back.
Wow. And so I know a lot of young people would be watching this. So what's your mantra for them? What advice would you give them?
Probably three things in no particular order. One, be curious. Right? I think curiosity is what drives learning. Curiosity is what drives innovation. Always remain curious. I would also say be patient. Things may not happen in a hurry. Resilience to survive, to get over it, and learn from the past, that being patient helps. And lastly, keep learning. Right? I know it sounds cliched, but learning is not about attending courses or reading books. Just learn from the environment. Just learn from people around you. It's all linked together if you look back. You're curious, then you learn. If you learn, then you're happy, you're fun at work, you're patient because you know you can learn more the next time. So, yeah.
Okay. And for the rest of us, not so young ones, what's a mantra for success at NIT?
Okay. First one, I think, grow a beard. Right? Either that
I need one.
Yeah, or make sure you have Raj in your name in some form or the other. That works. And if you can't grow a beard or your name is not Raj, then be friends with a lot of important people. The most important people in the office are people in FSO. Be very good friends with them. People in CSO. The man at the security gate. The guy who serves you coffee. The guy who books your tickets. Be friends with these people first.
Okay.
If that does not happen, then nothing else is going to make you successful.
Oh. All right. So for the next section, I'll ask you some very quick questions.
Okay.
I'll probably say one word, and you have to just react to it.
Okay.
So what frustrates you?
Making the same mistake again and again. I mean, either I make the same mistake again, somebody else does. Make new mistakes. We learn that way.
Okay. And what excites you?
I think NIT's journey over the last 38 years, the millions of people we have touched, and the fortune to be part of that journey.
Wow. And imagine that you wake up one morning and you have to catch a flight, so you're in a hurry, and then you have 600 emails to respond to. How do you prioritize?
Unless Rajan's servers are acting funny, that normally doesn't happen. But if I did have that, I would just read the ones from the customer first. Right? Just sort it by the subject and just read the ones that come from the customer. Because that's the first thing you look at, and then you can get back in the rest.
And so, pick one: content or technology.
You're going to get me in trouble. Okay.
That's the idea.
Content, I guess. I know, content, yes.
Really?
Very exciting, very creative, and a lot of learning.
Wow. And I know you are a avid traveler, you love music, you love TV shows, so you have to pick one. News, which one will you pick and why?
Music. I first discovered music when I was 4. I still have the tape that my dad bought me back then. And everything else comes later. Music for me, was not visual at first. It was simply what you heard, and it transported you to stages where rock bands performed or anywhere else. So music always.
Wow. Okay, Gani, so how did you land in NIIT? Talk us about your journey there.
So my journey actually began much before I started working with NIIT. I was a student back in 83, right, while I was still in my college. 87, I graduated, landed up at NIIT to do a few more courses, and at the end of all of that, NIIT offered me a job. And yeah, so my first job was as a trainer in July 88.
And from there on, how did your career progress?
Oh, lots of fun, because those days NIIT, we still are a very young company, but those days we were much younger, right? So the whole company was like 7 years old. So got to do a lot of different things. Trainer, content development, managing our franchise education business, roles at head office, roles in the region, running sales, running and this whole education boom that NIIT was riding and leading. So part of all of that. Then a little bit of stint in the US, got some exposure to working abroad, and then came back into leading technology for the knowledge business, then in the content business, and now back in education in India, driving new learning solutions for both corporates and retail students. So it's been fun. Yeah.
Wow. And I know you're a very busy man, Gani, with the kind of career you've had. And I know you have a daughter. So how does your family take your job? What are their thoughts?
So I don't think either of them, my wife or my daughter, know what I do, right? Which I think is pretty good, right? So I mean, it's pretty difficult to explain a lot of what we do to anyone else. So I think I stay out of their hair and they stay out of mine. So I think that's an understanding we have.
Okay, on that, are you a better father or a better husband?
Are you serious? No, but I think I'm a better person first, right? It's because of my wife and my daughter that I'm actually a much better person. So I thank them for that, and they both think I'm the best father and the best husband, but honestly, I'm a better person because of them.
I think you're really smart.
Yep, always.
All right. I'll ask you rapid fire questions, but you have to respond with a song that you like, that you can associate with.
Okay.
So the first one is Marriage.
Comfortably Numb, Pink Floyd. Don't tell my wife.
I'm sure a lot of people will relate to that.
Right.
Love.
Dancing in the Dark, Bruce Springsteen.
Okay. Money.
Catching, Shania Twain. That's a lovely song about the greed for money.
Competition.
We all live in a yellow submarine, the Beatles.
And how you will like to be remembered?
I'm not going anywhere. But if you had to answer that, Forever Young by Bob Dylan.
Wow. On that good note, it was fantastic.
Thank you, Ranit. Thank you so much.
Gani, today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. So that's all we have today.
Organized.
Gani is remarkable.
Inspiring mentor.
Enthusiastic.
Magical.
Always in learning mode, a great people person, always fresh, always open.
Positive energy.
Gani for me is empathy.